In one of my prior videos, I talked about why we should not get married to our gear, which basically translated into we should sell our gear while we can so that we can invest the money into something else. And I think today's video has a lot to do with determining which lenses specifically or cameras you're not using as much, and therefore you might put them up for sale. If you have Lightroom, and depending on how you use Lightroom, the following feature or tip might be very useful to you. For example, each year I make a folder, and in that folder I put all of the photo sessions or photographic work that I do into that folder. Then by going to those folders, I can click on the master folder for the year, and through metadata I can find out which lenses and cameras I use the most and which I use the least. For example, for the longest time I've been a fan of using long telephoto lenses, but I noticed over the last 2 years I have been using one lens in particular that I did not think I was using as much. Now this tip might not be so useful if you are a photographer who only has a few lenses. I think with a few lenses it's easier for you to track how much you use each lens. But if you're one of those photographers who has a lot of lenses, this feature might be very useful to you. So how do you access this information? On a Mac and using Lightroom, all you have to do is the / key, or go to the menu, click on view, and then click on show filter bar. Once you do that, you're going to get 4 options at the very top of Lightroom's panel, which consists of text, attribute, metadata, or none. When you click on metadata, you're going to get another 4 rows of information, or at least that's how I have it set up. It will sort by dates, by camera, by lenses, and by labels. I will not bore you with all the data from all of my years of shooting as a photographer. I'm just going to refer to from 2020 up until now. According to my metadata, in 2020, I used a total of 19 lenses. Moving on to 2021, and this is when the shocker really kicked in, the lens that I used the most by far was the RF 28-70 at f2, followed by the RF 70-200, which lines up with what I said previously, and then in third place was the 85 f1.2 RF. In 2022, with a big shocker, I shot over 20,000 photos with the RF 28-70, and that just blew my mind, taking first place above all of my other lenses. Now in 2023, surprisingly again, the RF 28-70 remains my most used lens up until now. So what I've noticed is that over the years my shooting style has changed, and that's because either easier to travel with certain lenses or the type of work that I was being asked to perform required the lenses that I have been using. And this is ultimately why I ended up selling my Canon EF 300mm f2.8. Despite loving it, I noticed that over the years I was shooting with it less and less, and knowing that the World Cup was happening in Qatar at the time, I felt that it was the right time to sell it because I knew photographers were going to be looking for telephoto lenses to cover the games, and I was right. So this tool might be super helpful to you if you are undecided as to which lenses you want to sell. Simply check the metadata of your entire catalog and then make that decision for yourselves. I hope you learned something new, and if you did, I encourage you to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for future videos, and like always, take care.